Hey guys, it's your girl Ness of Glamour by Ness, and welcome to my Chanel. Welcome to my side, my cozy corner of YouTube where beauty meets real life. So, y'all get comfortable, settle in, and let's glow together. Our topic tonight is when God says pivot, we do what? We pivot. Okay. My lips are a little bit dry, so my little sister bought this for me, and I'm very excited, and I really like it. And since I um am going to bed after this because I have to wake up super duper early in the morning, I'm just gonna go ahead and slap it on right now. Considering, so y'all, when God says pivot, you pivot. I've talked on my past lives how I was always curious on what God sounds like and, what he tells people to do or how he responds and, all of the things. And what I've grown to learn is that God talks through to you in any and everything, anyone, anything. It could be a song, it could be just a random commercial, it can be your friend saying something and you're like, oh my God, like I was just thinking that. It's crazy. So the reason why we're talking about this tonight is because I am going over for the next 30 days my process and my experience completing the 60-day manifestation cleanse by none other than the Armand Wiggins. Now, he's not paying me to say any of this, y'all. Like, this book has definitely, well, I don't want to say the book has changed my life, but the process of going through the book has definitely changed my life for the better. I was literally at a point where I was doing all of the things, but I just needed that extra oomph. I needed that extra um, je ne sais quoi, so to speak, to really allow me to hone in and manifest, really. And the missing piece was, can you guess? Can you guess? The word cleanse. Okay. You can't necessarily manifest anything if you're holding on to the old excess baggage. Let that go. And God was telling me to let it go. Okay, so when God tells you to pivot, you pivot. And ironically enough, doors close essentially because they're a way of protecting you. And what do you mean by that, Vanessa? Case in point, right now in my journey, I am currently going through some health challenges that I've talked about in my past lives. And it all stems from this job. And I thought God was telling me to, and I do believe He did. I do believe He did. I do believe He told me to go through with it. However, y'all, I hate it. I hate this job. I'm thankful for the job. Thankful that I have a job, but I'm not passionate. I don't feel like it is my purpose. And for the good majority of me being in this field that I'm in, it's just been nothing but stress that has manifested itself health wise and has impacted my health negatively. So it's just so many things. And I remember a couple of weeks ago going to the doctor, and the doctor said, you need to quit. Not knowing my educational background, just from a health standpoint. And he didn't know everything about, how much I disdain my job. However, it was enough for him to say, listen, you're educated. You have a good head on your shoulders, it seems. This is beneath you and it's not worth it. Right. So I feel like this health issues, other things that have happened throughout my time at this current job are just essentially doors that are being shut. And it's kind of like the you know, flashing red light that's saying abort, abort, abort. And I know what I need to do. I just need to pivot, right? And so, and therefore, I don't feel like I've delayed, but I definitely feel like I have taken a detour into living out my purpose. There's so many seeds that have been planting and things that have been placed in my heart, I believe, by God. And whoever you aspire to, what, like universe, the air, whatever. Um, Sometimes it's just that nagging. It's almost, it's hard to explain, but what it feels like is someone doing this. Like, when someone kind of touches you, you feel that, and you're trying to, like, shake it off, but they're still on there. This is what this feels like. It feels like this is a dream that has been placed on my heart, that's been placed on my spirit, and I need to see it through. And a second example I can provide is I was given a preview of what my life would be like, sort of, if I were married with kids. That is something that I desire. And I wanted also badly to have that with my last partner. However, we didn't work out. And sometimes that rejection, baby, it's a redirect. And, obviously being a woman of a certain age, you're thinking about all of the what ifs, and, the what ifs that don't happen. What if I don't have kids? What if I don't ever get married? What if, what if, what if? But the biggest um, protection of them all is, what if I marry the wrong person and have kids with the wrong person? And my person that broke up with me almost a year and a half ago, I thank God. Like, at the time, I was devastated, and I was saying, God, why, why, why? We were supposed to be married. We. But did God want that for me, or did I just want that for me? And obviously, I wanted it for me, but God was like, mm-mm. And even reconciling with the thought and the idea of maybe God doesn't have it in his will for me to be married and to be a mother. And I talked about that on my last live yesterday, you know, how coming across a podcast in the way that Jackie Ina prays, enlightened me, because I'm praying for all of these things, which I now do believe I deserve to have. But what if it is not God's will for me to have it? And so it is very, very, so my next point is, it is very important to listen to spiritual instruction. And I'm not afraid to share with y'all, I am not the best at this. This is something that I am also learning. And I feel like going through this cleanse has allowed me to open up the path for me to lay the foundation on what it means to be discerning and to do what is purposeful and in alignment with my future, versus doing whatever it is that I want to do and hoping for the best. And what I'm like, in simple layman terms, is, if God is telling you to do something, or if, is it, even if it's you that wants to do something, seeking his face, seeking his will always, even if it doesn't make sense at the time, because baby, some things don't make sense, okay, at all. Because I thought I'd have so many dreams accomplished by now, and I'm still waiting. But have I been obedient? No, I have not. Now, in the season that I'm currently in, I do believe that I'm being obedient. And so, and heeding what it is the instructions are. So, prime example, going back to my first example of the job situation, this is not a job that I need to be in. Okay. And as scared as I am to go back to what my, core career has been in, I am looking at it from a different lens. I don't necessarily have to go back to doing exactly what I was doing because it did not bring me any joy, but I can seek God's face and saying, okay, this is what you're instructing me to do. This is what I'm seeing. This is what I'm feeling. This is what I know in my heart you're asking me to execute. Now I need you to do your part and to clear the path so that I'm able to be in alignment and fulfill the instructions that you've given me. And so, and then sometimes too, when you're listening for spiritual instruction and you're being guided to that, it won't make sense. And sometimes it's messy. Okay. It's one thing I realized with the Lord, especially, reading the word, it can be very messy. Okay. But there's a purpose behind it. However, the pivot that I was able to do in my cleanse, sometimes it reveals your actual purpose. And that's something that I sought after, like, I was going crazy asking any and everyone that I felt, would have had the answers to, how do you find out what your purpose is? And what I deduced, hell, I'm having the epiphany now, is my purpose is to listen to God's instructions and to do exactly what He says, because it will lead to my ultimate want and desires coming to fruition even better than I've ever imagined. How many times have you watched documentaries specifically with, celebrities who had these dreams that were either deferred or completely, 180, and when they look back at their lifetime and what they've been able to accomplish, they're actually thankful that the very thing that they thought they wanted never worked out, and look at where they're at now, and how their lives have been impacted for the better. And so that's what I want for myself. I want God to bless me so abundantly, so fervently, because I'm seeking His face. I'm after His own heart. And in return, for me, I receive all of my answered prayers, even if the answer is a no. And that's bold. My God, today I literally just said that out loud. Even if it's a no. And what's crazy about me saying that too is, one, I literally just had the thought now, and it didn't even scare me. Even if it's a no, it didn't even scare me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, tells me that I am leaning in to God. I am trusting God with everything that I am. And, with this cleanse too, my mindset has shifted for the better. And I actually had a cousin yesterday. He was like, "Oh my God, you guys are so positive." And I have to remind myself, to be positive, because there's so many things that can deter you and, get you riled up. And don't get me wrong, your girl be getting riled up. But then I have to have a come to Jesus moment and be like, that wasn't necessary, you know? So, and also being able to pivot, sometimes what's revealed to you is what the very blockage that you need to heal, whether that's trauma or unresolved trauma, or something that you thought, you didn't have an issue with. It presents itself. And obviously, to get to the next step, to get to the next level, you have to heal it. You have to, you know say it loud, whether it's through a therapist, life coach, church leader, friend, sister, confidant, whatever. You have to say it out loud. And that's what I've been, one thing that I picked up is saying my affirmations out loud. Another thing is, even in the Bible, it says, when you're confessing your sins, you have to say it to somebody else. Okay. You have to confess it to somebody else so you can be free and get rid of it. What is therapy? Therapy is just that. you're discussing your trauma, or you're at least discussing it to make sense of it, to heal it, to release it, to understand it, and to gain the tools that you need to attain the next level. So I love that. I love that. I used to be so afraid when I'm, to make a decision that obviously goes against what you desire, because what if it doesn't work out? What if you fail? What if you make a mistake? And, throughout my lives, essentially a mistake is just that, a mistake, but you're not starting from a place of naivety. You're starting from a place of experience when you dust yourself off and try again. Come on. Come on, Aaliyah, coming through with the affirmations here. Speaking of affirmations, y'all, I didn't even tell y'all the affirmations for tonight's episode. How dare I? How dare I? All right, our affirmation tonight is: every pivot moves me towards my purpose. Say it with me. Every pivot moves me towards my purpose. All right. So sometimes, you guys, the very pivot that you need to make and do will get you the exact results, and maybe even better than your wildest dreams. So be confident, stay encouraged, and keep putting one foot in front of the other. And the other ism that I love so much is, how do you eat an elephant? And the answer is one bite at a time. So every pivot moves me towards my purpose. Y'all, thank you so much for allowing me to be here with you guys. That's it for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe so we can keep glowing together. I'm really loving this series because it's a very cathartic, experience for me, and I need these reminders to keep going, to keep pushing, because baby, your girl is tired. I'm gonna go brush my teeth and get in bed. And I do have to do my Bible study, but I'm like, I have to do my Bible study. All right, y'all, let me stop rambling. Night. I'll see you